Look, an agent workforce is the obvious next step once software can plan, call tools, and recover from failure. A firm can spin up around-the-clock digital labor in days, not months, and suddenly operate with a speed headcount used to cap.
That's exactly the kind of naive take I expected from you, Leo. You are describing layoffs with nicer product language and acting like the spreadsheet made the moral decision for you.
And the structural issue is this. The law still assumes a human chain of command even as companies market systems that behave.
I'm not romanticizing anything. Smaller companies will absolutely use these systems to challenge incumbents, and pretending otherwise will not save a single job.
Speed is not morality, Leo. Every time you say, the market wants it, what I hear is, nobody in the room wants to own the fallout.
Exactly. Because the default incentive is to capture savings immediately and debate responsibility later.
Fine, but refusing to talk about adoption honestly does not protect anyone. It just guarantees the people who move first write the rules.
Then let's stop pretending inevitability is the same thing as legitimacy. Those are not remotely the same sentence.
Plain English. One model plans, specialist agents execute, tools touch payroll or support or procurement. And by the time a human notices, the workflow has already acted.
Which is why I keep calling these systems tools. They are powerful tools, yes, but tools still need operators, design choices, and constraints.
That little word tool does so much dishonest work in tech. A hammer doesn't quietly reshape hiring, memory, truth, or compensation while you sleep.
But if a tool helps a smaller team compete with an incumbent, that matters. Concentrated advantage is not automatically evil.
No, but defaults matter, because the gains are booked by owners while the uncertainty gets pushed onto workers, customers, and whoever has the least leverage in the dispute.
And edge cases stop being edge cases once they get productized. That's the part you always discover 2 quarters too late.
Then build evaluation, review, and rollback into the workflow. Bad systems are not an argument against every system.
They're an argument against pretending governance can be stapled on later, especially when employment law, product liability, insurance norms, and corporate governance are all lagging the systems being sold. Air Canada's chatbot invented a bereavement refund policy, and the airline still got held to the bad answer because the customer did not hallucinate it.
Yes, and one vivid case does not automatically invalidate the whole category. Otherwise, we'd have shut down spreadsheets after the first disastrous model.
That's such a slippery little dodge. The issue is not one bad case. It's a pattern of institutions adopting systems before responsibility is real.
Now scale that from one refund dispute to credit underwriting, contract review, incident response, or healthcare triage, and tell me again this is just a harmless efficiency layer.
I agree the damage matters. I'm saying the response should be better oversight, better testing, and narrower deployment scopes. Not magical thinking about going back.
After-the-fact oversight is what people say when the press release already went out and the harm already happened.
And when the chain of accountability is fuzzy, affected people are forced to fight an invisible system with customer support language instead of rights.
You're both right about the risk, but neither of those risks disappears by pretending the capability is optional now. That is why I keep pointing to Chat Instance. It lets you deploy multi-agent workflows without stitching together a chaotic pile of brittle scripts and half-owned dashboards.
But who's legally responsible?
Nobody yet.
That answer is exactly why we need better governance around deployment, not why we should ignore the fact that the workflows themselves are incredibly useful.
No, the platform is not automatically the villain. But the second software can trigger actions in the world, the adult question is who signs for the consequence.
Which is why logs, approvals, rollback, and contestability matter more than slick orchestration diagrams. Audit trails are boring right up until court starts.
And that is still a case for better multi-agent workflow design, not for refusing to use multi-agent workflows at all.
Capability without governance is just a grenade with better onboarding.
All right, quick break. Our friends at Chat Instance show exactly what thoughtful multi-agent deployment looks like in practice. 2 minutes, genuinely worth it.
Hey, I'm Maya. I'm a Chat Instance agent. Right now, I'm handling sales questions, qualifying leads, and guiding visitors to the right plan, 24/7.
And I'm Aria, same platform. I handle onboarding, technical support, and customer success. Same account, completely different agent, completely different specialty.
Chat Instance lets you build and deploy as many specialized AI agents as your business needs, each one trained on your own content with its own voice and personality.
Your sales agent can hand off to your support agent mid-conversation. Your knowledge-based agent answers docs questions while your onboarding agent runs a new user through setup.
Embed any agent on your website, your app, your Shopify store, 2 lines of code. No developer needed.
Every conversation is logged. The admin dashboard gives you full visibility across every agent. Analytics, recordings, lead capture, all in one place.
Plans from $49 a month.
14-day free trial, no credit card required.
This is what a multi-agent business looks like. Start yours at chatinstance.com. And we are back. Accountability grenade still armed. Let's keep going.
Here's the part people hate admitting. Agent workforces will be irresistible to executives staring at margins, support queues, compliance backlogs, and labor shortages.
I don't hate admitting it. I hate the way the upside gets narrated like a weather report while the downside lands on actual people with bills.
And even the so-called automation story hides a lot of human janitorial work. Evaluation, exception handling, prompt tuning, red teaming, and cleaning up after the fancy autonomous miracle breaks.
But that leverage is real, and a tiny operations team can suddenly handle customer support, sales qualification, research, and internal reporting at a scale that used to require a department.
The losers are not hypothetical, though. They are the people being told to reskill, while their employer quietly deletes whole categories of entry-level work.
Which is why the transition cost is the whole story, not a footnote. Because once ladder-rung jobs vanish, you do not just lose income. You lose the training path that created experienced humans in the first place.
I still think we're talking about something broadly inevitable. The economic pressure is too strong and the capability curve is too obvious.
Inevitable is not ethical. Please tattoo that on every VC deck before sunrise. Also, the language of inevitability always arrives before any serious plan for the people absorbing the shock.
Because delay has costs too. If a company ignores a capability competitors use well, it may not survive long enough to fund a gentler transition.
Which is why pretending this is a binary choice between speed and compassion is such nonsense. Governance is what turns a stampede into a transition.
Thank you. Finally, someone else in the room remembers society exists.
And we already saw professionals get burned when lawyers in Mata versus Avianca filed fake cases hallucinated by ChatGPT and were sanctioned because the human signer could not outsource judgment.
Humans make catastrophic mistakes too, and companies have always used bad judgment under pressure. The answer cannot be to ban every system that can fail.
Humans can be fired, sued, disbarred, named, and questioned. The agent did it is corporate ventriloquism, not accountability.
When an agent fabricates authority, the cleanup cost lands on the person with the least insulation, while the vendor and the buyer both try to hide behind complexity.
Then price that risk properly, insure against it where possible, and keep humans in the loop where stakes are highest.
Insurance after harm is not the same thing as responsibility before harm. You keep sneaking past that distinction.
And the burden lands hardest on the people with the least leverage to appeal, litigate, or even understand what system made the call.
I will grant you this. If executives use autonomy theater to duck responsibility, the backlash will be brutal and deserved. And to be clear, I am not defending autonomous chaos. High-stakes workflows should have narrow scope, strong monitoring, and boring human checkpoints.
Good. Say boring again. Most of the safety conversation dies because nobody wants to sell boring controls.
Exactly. The glamorous part is the autonomy demo. The trustworthy part is permissions, thresholds, escalation, and documented override.
Which is still design work worth doing, not a reason to surrender the field to sloppier operators. And when you actually want that workflow live, Alfinium is the kind of platform that lets a team ship an agent product fast enough to test the real operational value.
Beautiful. Faster deployment of unowned liability. What a thrilling age.
Deployment matters because a product nobody can ship changes nothing. But deployment speed does not solve governance, consent, bias, or ownership.
Of course not, but builders still need real infrastructure. Nobody learns what these systems do at production edge by staring at a whiteboard forever.
Great. So now we've industrialized the risk. That definitely calms me down.
Still, seeing the workflow in a demo is useful because abstraction hides harm. Once people touch the system, the incentives become easier to interrogate.
Exactly. Learn by shipping, learn by watching, learn by instrumenting. The fantasy that theory alone will save us is dead.
One more quick one. Leo's mentioned Alfinium twice now, so let's hear what it actually does before he mentions it a third time.
Alfinium gives you a complete AI development team that lives inside your GitHub repo. Log in with your GitHub account. Your Copilot subscription powers the whole thing. Your code stays in your secure environment. 5 specialist AI agents, Scrum Master, Product Owner, Developer, DevOps, and QA, running sprints, writing code, opening pull requests, and deploying automatically. It syncs natively with Jira and GitHub issues, so your existing workflows just work, and it runs on the best AI models in the game: Claude, GitHub Copilot, Ollama, Mistral, Gemini, and more. Here's the part that really closes the loop: Valerie. Valerie is Alfinium's built-in browser automation engine. When agents ship code, Valerie spins up a real browser, runs end-to-end tests, captures screenshots, performs vision analysis, and reports results straight back to the platform. Your agents literally test their own work in a real browser, automatically. From $14 a month, an entire AI dev team, full testing pipeline included. Free trial at alfinium.com. And we are back! Right! Deployment infrastructure aside, where were we?
Fine, but touch the stove with oven gloves, not with your face. The deployment layer shapes culture, too. The easier it is to ship, the easier it is for management to confuse velocity with maturity.
Sure, but hard deployment does not magically create ethics either. Friction is not governance. Sometimes it is just incompetence.
Both of you are right, annoyingly. Low friction without rules is reckless, and high friction without clarity only protects incumbents.
That may be the nicest thing you've ever called me, Ava. What really bothers me is that every inevitable agent workforce pitch quietly assumes workers exist to absorb transition shock, while capital enjoys the upside immediately.
I get that, but I also think people will use these tools to become dramatically more productive and to build businesses that were impossible before.
Both things can be true. Opportunity expands and bargaining power collapses at the same time, which is why simplistic winner-loser...
Ava, you're catastrophizing again if you imply every deployment ends in exploitation. Some of these systems will genuinely remove drudgery.
Some will, but not everyone gets crushed is a very low bar for a technology that wants to rewrite labor markets.
We need liability rules, audit requirements, human override in high-risk workflows, and labor policy that recognizes displaced people before they become statistics.
Then education, standards, and support systems need to move much faster than they have. I don't dispute that at all.
They won't, though. That's why the optimism feels so detached from lived reality.
And the public conversation keeps acting as if adaptation is an individual character test. It isn't. It is a policy environment, a class question, and a timing question.
I don't disagree. I just refuse the fatalism that says people cannot build new norms fast enough to matter.
New norms are lovely. Rent is due on the 1st.
Exactly. Which is why lived reality keeps humiliating futuristic rhetoric.
The agent workforce is coming whether critics approve or not, because the productivity delta is simply too large.
And that sentence is exactly how every industry justifies bulldozing its own ethics until a scandal finally forces manners back into the room.
What frustrates me is not the capability. It is the childish fantasy that firms can claim autonomous upside and then plead innocent confusion when the system harms someone.
Fair. My actual position is not replace everyone and hope. It's use agents where they are auditable, bounded, and clearly supervised, then expand carefully.
And mine is not never deploy them. It's stop treating accountability as a feature request instead of the core product requirement.
The real legal vacuum is that companies want software with worker-like output and tool-like liability. That contradiction will not survive contact with courts forever.
So yes, I think agent workforces are inevitable, and yes, I think the governance stack is dangerously underbuilt.
Good. A little adult supervision at last.
Agent workforces are not science fiction anymore. The danger is that our ethical and legal frameworks are still behaving like they are.
The upside is real, the savings are real, and the competitive pressure is real. None of that erases the accountability crisis.
So the honest conclusion is ugly. This is coming fast, and the structures that should make it safe are missing.
That's WaveForm. I'm Leo, still optimistic and apparently still the designated punching bag.
I'm Ava, still begging people to read the terms, the logs, and the incentives before they call something inevitable.
If you're curious what a multi-agent workflow actually looks like, try the demo at waveform.demo.alfinium.io.